Hello folks, in this one I'm going to talk about the size of car we choose to drive. Cars have only been getting bigger in recent years, and the car I'm sat in right now is testament to that fact really. It's the new Hyundai Santa Fe. It's an absolute monster. It's a big car, and you certainly feel like king of the road in this thing. But is it necessary? And are lots of people driving big cars that don't actually need them, but possibly think they do? And possibly they think they do because that's pretty much all that's on offer from some manufacturers now, is a big car, or certainly a big car by traditional standards. You only have to look at things like the VW Golf. And if you look at a Mark 1 Golf now compared to the current Mark 8.5, there's a noticeable difference in size. Look at something like a Porsche 911 and just go back 20-30 years with the 911 and look at the difference in size. And then we've got manufacturers pulling small vehicles from the market. You know, Ford are no longer making the Fiesta. Surely at some point there's going to be another compelling small car offering from Ford, hopefully with the Fiesta badge. And I'm really crossing my fingers they don't decide to put that on a generic mid-size SUV, as they've done with the Capri badge. But do we really need all these big cars, especially in this country where our road network's fairly narrow, parking spaces seem to be getting smaller, and the roads are fairly congested? So is it better to be in something like this?
All this.
Now I'm in the 𝙼𝙁𝙆𝙎, which has become my daily driver sort of 9 times out of 10 really. And when you look at this car on paper, it's small, it's really boxy. It doesn't really have a great deal in the way of creature comforts. It's got Bluetooth and it's got air conditioning. It's also got heated windscreen, which is a nice thing to have. But aside from that, you know, it's not particularly well trimmed. Everything's all a bit scratchy and hard and not very soft or luscious. But this is the car I often choose to get in over the Tesla. And the Tesla is very well appointed. People always go on about the interiors in Teslas not being very good. It's bunkum. Like, the seats are really comfortable, really nice material. Most of the fit and finish of the car is really quite nice. And it does feel like a premium car, certainly to me. And I probably drive a lot more cars every year than possibly you do. So it's got all that going for it. The technology in it's amazing. It's a nice enough thing to drive, yet I often choose to go for this. And the reason I do is because I'm going to use a word that I probably shouldn't at my age, because it's a word that I usually associate with the older generation, but it's nippy, right? So I can get in this car and bomb around to a local shop or something, just drive very vaguely into a parking space, and I'll have about a foot of room each side of the car without even attempting to park sensibly. And it just all feels very direct, and you're very involved in it. There's not a great deal of soundproofing, I guess, or it's not completely filled with creature comforts. You're sort of more, I don't know, you're more directly engaged with the car. I can't quite put my finger on it. Every time I get in this car, I think, why am I taking this instead of the Tesla? And I think it is the fact that it's small. And most of the time I only need a small car. Now, I never thought that would be possible. I didn't think I could survive on anything smaller than an Audi A3 or a VW Golf. And actually, I choose to go for this quite a lot of the time. If I were doing motorway journeys every day, possibly that would be different. But it's really made me rethink the way I think about cars and what I actually need. Because the amount of times I actually need a large car are few and far between. Now, there are some things where a small car just doesn't suit. For example, if you're constantly doing long motorway runs, you're going to feel much more secure and comfortable in a slightly bigger car. But perhaps you don't need something of this gargantuan size. The car I'm sitting in right now It's absolutely perfect if you're regularly lugging large loads around. Obviously, if you've got 6 passengers with you, or one more than the normal 2.4, then this is a good thing to have. It's a brilliant car in many ways, and I actually love it. Also, if you're compensating for perhaps an under averagely sized Winky, a big car can help in that department, and I think that's why I enjoy this so much. I've only got 3 inches, but that's too wide for some. However, it also costs a lot more to run. It costs a lot more to buy. It's more problematic to park. In years past, manufacturers would have very different product offerings for different markets. So in the UK, we would often have models not available in the US and vice versa. Now we've got brands like Ford that have gone for this one world thing, where everyone gets basically the same suite of vehicles to choose from. And certainly that big Hyundai, that's made for the American market all day long, primarily and first. That is a car that's been designed to sell to America. Nobody at Hyundai's told me that, but I'm not an idiot, and you can just tell that that's the case. Running a car these days, folks, is an expensive business. The amount we have to pay for fuel is huge. The amount that you pay on car insurance now is massive compared to what it was even 18 months ago. And God knows what's going to happen with the tax situation. That looks like it's going to get eminently worse very soon. Running a smaller car could help you save a lot of money, and it might not be quite the compromise that you've convinced yourself it would be. I'm not saying it's for everyone. If I were doing long motorway runs every day, if I had a larger family, I could absolutely justify having a larger car. And as it is, we are a 2-car household. But are you a 2-car household? Have you got 2 large cars in the family? Do you need 2 large cars? Are you a 1-car household and you've got a massive SUV, and 98% of the time it's just you driving in it and you're not doing more than 30 miles a day? I love a big car. I love this car. I think this is a fantastic car. It's a massively impressive car. And if you compare it to the last Hyundai Santa Fe, although the nuts and bolts of it underneath are fairly similar, very similar in fact, it feels like a quantum leap from where we were. I love the styling of it. I love the fact it's big and bold, and it appeals to me. I don't know, maybe it's that sort of masculine thing where you want an aggressive looking car, and this does look far more aggressive than the outgoing one. But maybe I'm just as happy in my little Say-It Me. And maybe 90% of the time, or 95% of the time, that's more than sufficient. I don't know. I'm not saying one's right and one's wrong and that everyone should get a small car. I'm saying to you, think about it. Think about getting a car that you actually need, a size of car that actually suits your lifestyle and the way you use it. Because you might find it's much easier to live with. You might find it's much easier to park places. You might find it saves you a hell of a lot of money in running costs. And actually, it might be easier to get on your drive. Hope you've enjoyed this one, folks. Bit of a random video, I'm sure some of you are thinking. But this little car's been a little bit of a game changer for me, and it's just changed the way I think. And I think it's just interesting how it's done that, and I just wanted to share that with you and get some of you thinking about what it is you're driving and why. Because you may find that a little handbag like this suits your lifestyle. Maybe not, but it's worth a thought. If you've enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the channel, and you can now join the channel as a member. That will give you earlier access to some of the most important videos that I consider to be important. Things like really amazing deals on maybe a car lease or a new car that I'd like the members to see a couple of hours before everyone else. There'll also be a special members area on the channel page, and there'll be a live Q&A each month where members will be able to join in and ask me questions and get them answered live in real time. So if you'd like to do that, the membership tiers start at just £1.99 to make it as accessible as possible for anyone that wants to do it. And if you don't want to be a member, don't worry, because you're still going to get all the content that you get now. It's just I want to offer a little bit of something special for those that say, here you go, Jim, we like what you're doing. Here's a couple of quid a month. Thanks ever so much for watching, folks. I'll see you on the next one.
Huge thanks to all my channel members for your continued support. I really do appreciate it.